Hey friends, it's Russ here again, having more Daisy Lever gun fun. And today out here in the old workshop, we're going to look at something I've done with this Model 102, number 36, or number 102, Model 36. It's an oldie but a goodie, 1942 or maybe 45. And this one is the variation 2. It has the cast iron lever on it, and it had the bluing on the receiver. The natural stock, this is pretty much the way it was made except for one thing right here. This is a homemade trigger. Now, why do I have a homemade trigger on this gun? Well, a little while ago, I was in a mood to take a look at one of these. Now, I've seen these, we all know what these are. These are the folded metal triggers, the one-piece jobbies that have been around for a long time. And I made mention to Shane Bruce over at Restomod, Daisy, that I wish I could make a replacement for these without having to start from a billet and milling it into shape. Now, he made the comment to me that that would be a piece of magic to actually do something like that. Well, as far as I'm concerned, when someone says something like that to me, that's just like throwing the gauntlet and daring me to try. So what we have here is an oldie but a goodie, used one of these triggers. In fact, this is the one that came out of it. And we have something that I have constructed to take the place of it. And I'll explain what it is in a second, but just to show you that it does work, whenever we take the gun, we cock it, it sets the trigger, and it fires. Cock it, set the trigger, fires. Every single time. So, can't explain it without actually showing it to you. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a couple of screws out, and we are going to take a look at how I came up with that particular configuration for the trigger. Take out the stock screws, pull the stock. See, it actually has this return spring in the stock, and how it works on the original trigger is this spring gets caught on that little nub down here, so that whenever it's holding it in place, instead of the trigger falling back, that holds it forward. Okay? So we'll take the trigger screw out, and let's pop this trigger out the back end and take a quick look at it here. This is what the two triggers look like. This little notch works as the sear lever would work on the newer ones, okay? And you see this is tapered. This is tapered because whenever that piston comes back, it rides up on here, gets caught inside of there. You pull the trigger, releases, and away it goes. We have to leave room for the top of the stock. There's not a lot of space inside of here, and if you can tell, these are hollowed out a bit. So we have to leave room for the top. So we can't configure these too much higher. So this one, because it's folded over and it gave itself a little bit of thickness, there's a space in here. You can see that right here. Let me hold it up. Space right in here. This one was folded over, and I didn't leave as much space in it, but it does center itself pretty well inside the gun. So what did I have to make this folded trigger from? Actually, what I did, I took a piece of EMT conduit, 1-inch ID, cut it off to the right length, put it in a vise, and squeezed it until it came up to this shape. Now, the reason this is straight and the original trigger has a curve in it is because whenever I laid that out, two things were in my thought process here. Number one, if I cut that back, there's nothing to hold these two pieces together. So right now, this is two pieces except for the fold right up here. This had to be notched out to make room for this little piece right in here on the trigger where it forward sets, okay? And instead of altering this, I altered the trigger. Secondly, I didn't want to leave any potential sharp edges. Now, of course, this is all dressed up, little file, little grinding. But with this round edge on the front, it's softer on your trigger finger. So you know what? You actually can make a trigger with folded metal without having to worry about a solid billet and milling. Now this one needs to be cleaned up a little bit more, probably painted. If I get rid of the galvanizing on it with some acid or something, I could always blue it. But for a rough start, this works really well. There you have it. If you get a chance, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, or if you've made any of these triggers, folded over yourself, let's hear about it. This is Russ. Stay safe and have a great day.